I'd like to call the May meeting of the Rockland Community College Board of Trustees to order. The time is 6:06 p.m. Ms. Dillon, will you call the roll?
Mr. Worthing.
Here.
Mr. Rand.
Here.
Ms. Dillon is here. Ms. Dykstra-Down.
Here.
Ms. Eckert is excused. Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Ms. Ramos is excused. Mr. Taub.
Here.
Mr. Valentine.
Here.
Mr. Boyd.
Here. Okay, is there any public comment tonight? Dr. Davis?
So this is my last board meeting, so I wanted to come and say a few words. I wanted to start with Dr. Cliff L. Wood, who plucked my resume out of a pile and said, come here to RCC. I want to thank him for the opportunity he's allowed me to participate in, which have enriched my administrative reach. His leadership, drive, kind spirit, and the extra duties as assigned will always be remembered. And his fussing, however. So, to the Board of Trustees, thank you for your encouragement and support of this administration. It did not go unnoticed. There are very difficult days here in a union environment to balance fiscal responsibility, student success, and institutional integrity. Yet this board has continued to support this administration, and I am personally thankful. Special note to Dr. Penny Jennings and Dr. Arlene Quinn-Scale, who treated me like a son, always encouraging, nurturing, and motivating. And a special thank you to the late Dr. Sonia Shapiro, who would send me a card or sometimes a small gift thanking me for a job well done. Those touches meant a lot. To Dr. Hussein, Joe Mara, Tom Delator, Melissa Roy, Elizabeth Kendall, and Zipporah Reitman for being amazing colleagues and collaborators. I believe we did amazing work to better the institution. And to Dana Stilley, who I call my work wife, the number of projects from the strategic plan, retention plan, SOAR, academic intervention, and I can't begin to count how many projects we worked on. I personally will miss your guidance and mother wit, precision, fortitude, and strategic advice when I was in my office about to scream. Thank you for keeping students first. And lastly, to Dr. Susan Deere, who has the patience of Job. She listens, consults, strategizes, and empowers. You have led with care and empathy and a determination to get students to move forward even in their darkest hours. Provost Deere continues to have a marathon agenda that puts RCC in the spotlight and top among its peers. On my best day, I hope to be half the administrator that you have been over to me for the last 4 years. Continued success to Rockland Community College, and believe with me as I end every new student orientation, the best is yet to come.
Thank you very much. Just on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I would really like to thank you. I don't even know how to thank you for all that you've done for Rockland Community College. And we wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And we know you're going to a better job and a better place. And God bless you and hope all works well.
Thank you.
Dr. Wood.
I don't often disagree with Chair Wardendijk. You are going to a really better job for you and your circle qualified. I'm not sure you're going to a better place. But maybe you can make it that. But the interesting thing about it is he's going to a really good school because they're also an Aspen 150 best community college schools. And he is going to be their provost and their executive vice president. Roger, you will do well and we will miss you and we thank you very much. Just to comment on 2 or 3 things. One is, I hope you were all as pleased as I was with graduation, and I thought everyone did such a great job, and I thought the campus never looked better. Those people have worked so hard. Dana and her staff and all those who put the actual program together, I was very pleased. And it was just a happy time. I don't know, we had the biggest crowd we've had. We had expanded the seats, and we still, next year, Dan, we have to figure out how to have a few more seats. And students and parents really seemed to appreciate what we were able to do for them. And then there was something that happened that sort of was the cherry on the cake this week when I was putting together some data for something I had to do, which wasn't really a pleasant task, but it ended up, I had to look at some data that I was very, very pleased about. And I was looking at our graduation rates for the various members of our student body. And this was not this year's graduation rates, but the year before. And all of a sudden it hit me. This is why we, in part, got this designation by, from the Aspen Institute. So in 2014-15, 19.8% of our students were Hispanic, and the graduation rate for Hispanics was 19.8%. The same was very similar numbers for our African American students and for our white students, which says to me is that our graduation rates for our students of color, for students sometimes that are educationally disadvantaged, equal that of all of our students. And that is really, when you think about it in that way, is very, very positive in terms of what we are able to do, in terms of how we are treating all of our students over here, and that they're all succeeding in a very similar rate. And that's a really very positive thing. Because if you look at the national statistics for graduation rates among community colleges, those are not the numbers at all in terms of the breakdown of a student body. And I was very, very pleased about that. And that really says a lot about the teaching, which we know is really at the heart of all of it, and also the support services. So I was very, very pleased about that. And it made me get a little more optimistic, because one of these days, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get some more information from the Aspen Institute. And I've dreamed 3 times that we got in the top 10, so I hope that's a good omen. But certainly those statistics this week, when I really looked at them and the way they were presented, I really understood how they're comparing data in a way. And I looked at some national statistics, and we're really doing extraordinarily well in how we serve our students. The other thing, my president's report, and you can read it later, I had fun with it because I really talked about our next major facilities project, which is the demolition of the amphitheater and the construction of a performance art space and a peace garden. We have bids. They are in. We have good bids in terms of where they are. I was very pleased with the dollar amount. There's going to be a meeting on Tuesday. We have with the people who are managing our project and with the folks from the county of Rockland to look at those bids so that we can make a recommendation to the board very soon about those bids and which one we will select. But we certainly have a bid that we can afford, and the time period for that bid means that we will get this done. So the next thing that will happen next week is I will be meeting and having an architect and the people who are going to manage that project meet with our performing arts people to talk about to try to decide exactly where we're going to put that performance space, which is the first thing we do, and what we can afford to build, and then we will decide on how we move forward with the garden. And both of those things can happen over the summer. And when we sat down with Elizabeth and Ben and we talked to Nair and talked about the money we have available, we have the funds to do all of these projects, and I'm very, very excited about that. We may not build the performance space initially that Christopher Plummer would like to have, but they are very happy because we will build a performance space that has possibilities to be expanded in terms in the future. So I'm very, very excited about that. And we're going to move forward with that, and everything is in place to make that happen. And the county executive has indicated he will help us move that forward very quickly. So I'm excited about that. We also met last week with the president actually came to the campus president of Orange and Rockland to talk about our energy performance contract and how pleased they are with what we're doing and the money that they're going to make available to us because of the savings that we have. So we're going to really move forward. One of the things that I'm going to do that I think it's important I do for the county legislature, because we have to go with these projects as we ask for magic funds, is to put together a report. And what I will start with is our facilities master plan, that had like a $168 million price tag on it, and show them what we've been able to do in a very creative way to do a number of these projects without having to ask the county for support in other ways. So I'm very excited about that, and I'll be sharing that report with you in the next couple of weeks. And that is my president's report. I know there was one other thing I did want to say, and I will do something about this. We have, as you know, this is our first year of having our administrative staff assembly, I keep calling it association, assembly, which really, really is what we needed to do in terms of our shared governance. And I think the progress that group has made with their officers has been extraordinary. They did two very special events. One, they had 2 sessions in this room with over 50 employees each time for customer service training. At their initiative, they had a woman who does customer service training at Disneyland, or Disney World, whichever, Disney World, I guess, in Florida. And they did that, and they participated, they paid for it, they wrote a grant, they did it all. And then they also presented some awards for people who sort of go above the call of duty. And I thought all of the employees, they recognized their members were really deserved that recognition, and I thought that they're off to a really, really good start. And I was very happy about that, and I'm very confident, as I said before. I think when Middle States comes and looks at what we've done in shared governance and looks at the standard on shared governance, that we're going to be in very good shape, and I really appreciate that. So that is my agenda, and then do you want me to talk about study when we go through the introducing?
Let me just think.
Okay.
Is there any questions for Dr. Wood? Okay, next we have the consent agenda. There are 6 items on the consent agenda. At our previous workshop meeting, we discussed 4 of the resolutions. There's an additional resolution this evening, and I think Dr. Wood would like to speak to that before we include it in the consent agenda.
I will, and I had reached out to all of the board members, and I heard back from almost all of you. There's been a very busy spring, and the time got away from me when I shared with you all a couple of months ago the information that we get every year from the American Community College Trustees Association, and as you know, they give awards at their annual convention every year in the fall, and we've been very fortunate in the past few years that we have had 3 people who received those awards, including Dr. Clinkscale for Distinguished Trustee Service and Dr. Lane Padilla for Faculty Service. And one of the things that we can know is that, I like having Rockland Community Colleges recognized at this national level. And as I looked at deciding to make a recommendation, all of a sudden what happened is I realized that we had a person who was absolutely the right candidate for the ACC William H. Murdy Faculty Excellence Award. And that's Professor Bill Baker, who is sitting here. And I reached out to Bill, and we talked about that, and we have a resolution. And if you read his statement, I think I shared with you his statement that he had to respond to. I shared that with you earlier in the week. And if you read all of that, you will be tired, because over these years, he's done it all in a way. And one of the things that I was saying to Bill that really, really impressed me, and I think will impress the people who read this, is how over the years Bill has adapted his teaching and his college service to fit the needs of his students. And interestingly enough, Bill is one of the first faculty members who developed several online courses. And I'm terrified of technology, and Bill embraced it and uses it very effectively. And so I was really pleased that you were willing to accept this because of the time frame when we meet in June, to let us do that so we can get this nomination for Bill in a timely manner. But Bill, personally, I just think this is so well deserved.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Are there any questions regarding this resolution? If not, we'll go right into the consent agenda. The first item on the consent agenda is the approval of the previous meeting minutes from April 27, 2016. Number 2 is a resolution, the approval of a memorandum of agreement between Rockland Community College and the RCC Federation of Administrators, is Resolution 27-2016. Number 3 is the approval for reappointment, promotion, and grant of tenure to non-tenured faculty for the academic year 2016-2017, Resolution 28-2016. The next item is approval of the emergency repair of the expansion loops on the heating system to Brucker Hall in the Brucker Hall parking lot. This is Resolution 29-2016. Number 5 is the approval to pay additional costs involved in the repair and installation of the field house roof which is Resolution 30, 2016. And the final resolution is the approval of the resolution nominating Professor Bill Baker for the 2016 ACCT William H. Murdy Faculty Excellence Award. This is Resolution 31, 2016. Can I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I don't know if Dan wants to say anything. I think he's here representing the RCCFA. Brian McGurk, their president, his son is being recognized at high school activity this evening.
Yes.
Danny, I didn't know if you wanted to make a comment.
I'm just here to make sure if there was any questions or anything else. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody in the administration of the college. The negotiations were fair and well thought out, and I think it's a good agreement for everybody.
Thank you.
And the only other thing I would mention is Resolution 3, the reappointment, promotion, and grant of tenure is for a particular faculty member, and that's Professor Ronnie Grant of the English Department.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, academic affairs, Dr. Geary.
Bill, congratulations on that nomination, well deserved. I need to let the board know that I'm still in denial when it comes to losing Dr. Davis. I just haven't really faced it yet because I have to tell you that over the last couple of years I've been so impressed with his integrity. He's one of the most honest human beings I know. He's extremely principled, and to put that all together with one word, which is he's very reasonable, which sometimes is very hard to find. So I am going to miss him tremendously. He's made a really good team member because he's very action-oriented. We are where we are because not only of his leadership, but because of his willingness to grow, to make decisions, and to take risks. He's absolutely, totally amazing with our students. And it's going to be really hard to find somebody to replace him. He's taken the SOAR, our new student orientation, and made it something that the students absolutely adore. And I think it's reflective, and will be, continue to be reflective, not only our graduation rates, but our retention. He's also exceptionally goal-oriented and outcomes-oriented, and he took our strategic planning process at Rockland Community College to a level that I'm telling you is going to knock the socks off the Middle States. It's very impressive. And he's done so in a very subtle way, and that's what's impressive. It's not about him, it's about us. It's about Rockland Community College, and it's about the students. And I'll miss him more than anything, and I don't even think I know how much I'm going to miss him. But I just want you to know that, I support him in the next steps that he's going to be taking. He's going to be an executive vice president, second to the president, and one day I'm sure we'll see him in the lights as a president. And I love you, but I'm going to miss you so much. But we'll stay in touch, as a promise. So we're going to miss a good one, I'm telling you right now. So I'm very, very excited for him, and not so excited for me. I also wanted to say that that it was Professor Ronnie Grant who was the person who was reappointed and received tenure. He teaches in the English, as part of the English faculty. At the workshop, I had mentioned to the board about the study that was done by the president of NICAP of the Community Colleges President's Association, and I said that he had done a survey and had received results of 28 of the 30 community colleges. And we were at a meeting with the Board of Trustees, and he sort of gave us those numbers, and we were trying to copy them down, but we did get them. And I just want to let you know what those numbers are in terms of community colleges and the budget crunch that we're facing in the future. And there were, again, 28 results, and I think Dr. Hussein is going to put this in a table, but I just want to verbally give you some information. 20 of the 28 community colleges are looking at vacancy eliminations. 19 are tapping into their fund balance. 17 are looking at other targeted reductions. 9 are going through a hiring freeze. 9 have incorporated retirement incentives, 6 are looking at layoffs, and 4 are looking at furloughs. In terms of tuition increase, 3 are looking at a tuition increase of 5% or more, 13 are looking at a tuition increase of 3 to 4.9%, and 8 are looking at 3% or less in terms of tuition. 6 are still looking at what they're going to do in terms of tuition. So if you take a look at the 28 community colleges that have responded, everybody's tightening their belts. So we'll get that information out to you in writing. Dr. Wood will talk to Dr. Hussein about that. But since I did mention it at the workshop and it was mentioned at the Board of Trustees meeting, the SUNY Board of Trustees meeting, I thought I'd give you that information. So that's my report, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Thank you.
AVP Stilley.
Good evening. I too think that I should go on record saying to my work husband who is leaving me, it has been a pleasure to work with you, to collaborate with you, to share the real talk, and also to learn from your experiences. You were a committed part of our team, and you will definitely be missed, but we will too keep in touch, and I wish you all the best in your new endeavor. As for my report, we are days away from starting the first summer session, which will begin on Tuesday when we return from Memorial Day. And we are holding on to a small increase in enrollment versus a year ago. We are currently up 2 FTEs. So we are happy about that. Every little bit counts. And for the fall, we are off to an early start, and we are up for the fall, we believe primarily due to our SOAR process, which we started earlier than last fall. We are up 5.3%. So we're hoping to take those gains and keep them going as we move towards September 1. Additionally, I think you all are aware that we did receive the grant to become an experimental site for the Pell Grant for students who are going to be duly enrolled in their senior year in high school. We quickly started our marketing campaign already with Dr. Wood, presented a letter to every superintendent in the county. We have connected with each guidance counselor, each principal, several staff members getting the word out, and the next step will be visits to the high school, which will be led by our Director of Admissions and our Director of Financial Aid. And they will go there and physically work through the process for those students who are interested.
If you want to finish.
I'm finished, thank you.
Okay. I just thought of something. The high school students, you're talking about the ones who stay in high school.
Those who will be coming for the early admit program.
Oh, so they'll
Not
come here.
Yes, they'll be
Okay.
here full-time, enrolled in a program.
When they come here, do they pay our on-campus tuition or the ones that the kids who stay in the high school?
On-campus tuition,
That's
full
right.
tuition.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no other questions, that's my report for the evening.
Thank you, AVP Stilley. Joe Mara, Finance and Administration.
Good evening. At the workshop, we received the March financial statements. Are there any further questions? It's been pretty quiet now that the audit's over and the budget has been prepared. We're just moving forward with wrapping up this year. So, if there's any questions on the March report?
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Joe. Secretary Dillon.
We, the board, received a letter from the Marydale Faith and Life Center. This is to acknowledge the donation that was made to the Marydale Faith and Life Center in memory of Isabel Wortendike in May 2016 by the Rockland Community College Board of Trustees.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the thought.
And two other things. Trustee Taub is now a four-year college graduate. And Trustee Lewis is moving on. He is transferring, except I forgot the word. Mercy.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a nice report?
You will be getting the NICET update. So far, it has 2 news items in it, and that is because Cynthia Demarest, who is the chief executive of NICET, is on family leave, so it will be very brief. A quiz will not be necessary to make sure you.
Any questions? Foundation?
Foundation, the Alumni Association, you all remember the big potato that was outside. It was a big success to raise awareness of organ donor. Roxanne Watson, who's an alumna of RCC, and an organ donor activist, brought awareness of the importance of donations, and it was apparently a very fun day. Also, 2 events coming up. One on June 26th, Sunday, the Alumni Association is sponsoring baseball tickets for a game at Boulder Stadium. $30 includes some food and beverages. What's interesting is the Boulders will be playing the Cuban national team, which, nice international, yeah, that's kind of interesting. And maybe they'll have some really interesting Cuban food. And also, of course, mark it down, Tuesday, August 9th, the annual Spook Rock Golf Course outing. Price per golfer is $199 before July 4th. After July 4th, they cut it off literally on Independence Day. You have to do it by July 4th. If not, the cost goes up to $225 from $199. Includes barbecue, lunch at the golf course, and dinner at RCC. You can also just go to dinner for $75. Lots of auction prizes, lots of raffles. It's always a really fun day. I hope we'll see some trustees out there at the outing. That's it.
Thank you. Student government?
Yes, so my report is just a lot of thank yous today. I want to thank Dana Stilly and Roger Davis. The day before, so kind of a backstory. So I came as an early admit student, so I never went to my high school graduation. I kind of went to the guidance office and picked up my diploma and said, like, nice to meet you, because I had to switch high schools. So because of that, I had never been to a graduation ceremony. So I was totally unaware of what I had to do. So I emailed them probably 100 times the night before trying to figure out everything. And they were so helpful. Like, everything went so smoothly the day of. So I want to thank you guys, because that was a total miscue on my part. And Chair Wartendite, he wrote the letter of, it was the evaluation letter that I had said it was going to be written a while ago. And I think it was really helpful for myself to kind of give me, a guide of where I did well and where I didn't. But I think it's going to be even better for Emma when she comes in next year, and that was a big portion of it. I wanted her to have something that is, pretty basic standards of the right and wrongs that I did, and I think that was done well. And next month is my last meeting, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I can give
It
all
starts
of,
in July.
okay, so I can give all of my thank yous and my tears then. But I can't begin to tell you how helpful this has been in terms of just professional experience and just talking to people. It gives me another point to relate to people with, and it gives me a leg up in the professional world, which I can't even begin to describe how much that's helped me. So thank you to all of you guys. This is the pre-thank you to the huge thank you that's going to be coming next month. Thank you all so much.
There is no question that the ability to endure long meetings is a professional virtue. That's something you need to develop. You get it in college. Get right here.
Any questions for Gabriel? Thank you very much, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Old or new business? Ben?
Sorry, we should have done this during public comment. This is the first time I think we've been in the room since our charity campaign, which was on May 11th. I just personally wanted to thank the board for how gracious you were during the campaign. All 10 of you contributed to the campaign, and I believe the total amount that you gave was about $10,000, which is 1/10 of the total amount that we needed to raise that day. It was a rousing success, which Liz likes to say that she had no doubt in her mind. I think she probably did, because I had lots of doubts. But that whole project was put together in 6 weeks. We had our first meeting with charity 6 weeks before the 24-hour fundraising day. And I think we learned a lot of lessons about how things that we can do better in the future. I think I spent the first 5 weeks of those 6 total weeks poking Dr. Wood in the side, trying to get him to make phone calls to people we needed to make to raise big money from. So we'll have better planning when we do this again next year. We need to have a little bit of a better outreach to our alumni. But all in all, I wish you could. I know Grant was there the morning of the second day. Going into that morning, we were under $200,000 of the $400,000 total, and I was not sure if we were going to make it. And I couldn't believe it was night and day from the day before to that morning. I mean, we had 50 people in that room. There were students running in with $20 bills, just coming to make it work. And then with about 20 minutes, I think we crossed the $400,000 mark with about 20 minutes left, and it was just quite a day. And in addition to it being money that we're going to put to a really good cause, I think it's really the first event that has really galvanized the campus in that sort of a way, that brought together staff and faculty and administrators and students. We had over 650 unique donors. And it seemed to be something that everyone really wanted to be a part of. So again, thanks to everybody who played a part in it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'd just like, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank everyone, including you, Ben, and Elizabeth Kendall, who was very instrumental, and of course Cliff Wood, who worked very hard also. So thank you from the board. We really appreciate what you did.
And I thank them. I thank Ben and Liz and all the people who were involved. Zipporah, the three of them, Ben, Zipporah, and Liz, really stayed, and they did push me constantly to make all these phone calls. And people were running away from me. They'd see me coming and I was looking for money. But we still have some money coming in, and some people that I contacted on that day. Today I got another $25,000 commitment from that, so that was a good thing. It told me to call him back today, and I called him back today, so that was a good thing to do. So we'll keep moving on that, but it's for a great cause, and I agree with Ben. It was just something that everybody contributed to, and Liz would say there's even more than 650 when you add all the individual students who contributed a small amount, and that was, so we really were very pleased. And you can't do it every day, but we can certainly do it at some point in the future, and we know exactly now what we need to do to make it work, so I thank you. We do need to have an executive session very briefly for me, for the employment of a particular person and for a legal issue that I need to bring to your attention.
Is there any more old or new business?
Do you have the dates of the June meeting?
I do.
I
Yes, I do.
June 23rd.
June 23rd. I think that's right.
And that's both
Both.
workshop?
Yeah, all in
June
one day.
23rd.
It is the 23rd, June. Okay. All
And
right.
Ben will get you the June, July, and August
I'll
out
send it out tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay, we do need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular individual. Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I'll get the next one.
The time is
6:40.
6:40.
Get that clock right. I would.